Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. How do you feel when there is a crisis that is coming and is approaching, and you can see it coming, and you can see it coming not 1 day before, 1 week before, 10 days before, but 10 months before? You know it is going to come, and you can almost predict the day when that crisis is going to come, and yet you do nothing about it. You do nothing about it till days, and then finally it is there. And if you think I'm hyping this too much, ask anybody, any of the inhabitants of northern India, and particularly a city like this in Delhi. Look at all these people behind me. How long back was it that you last saw the blue sky? Anybody, can you remember? Any of you are having coughs and colds? How many of you smoke out here? How many of you smoke? You're not raising your hands. Every one of you should be raising your hands, because each one of you has been smoking 23 cigarettes a day for the last 15 days, each one of you. And that's the situation that we are in, and we haven't been able to do anything about it. And today on this episode of The Big Fight, we're going to try and figure out why nothing's been done, and crucially, what needs to be done, just how bad that pollution crisis is, and what can we do at this stage other than just locking ourselves up in our homes, switching on air purifiers for those of us fortunate enough to have them, while the rest of the city and the rest of North India can presumably just choke. And to tell us what we should be doing and where we should go from here, Chandra Bhushan is here from CSE, among the people who's been saying for, 10 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
10 years.
10 years. So yes, this is a crisis. It's going to continue until we do something about it. Annie Koshi, who's principal of St. Mary's School, one of the people who has the task of dealing with children coming in every single day, coughing, wheezing, spluttering, and knowing that lasting damage is being done to each of them just by coming to school. In fact, you really have to ask whether in a city like Delhi, it's not better for the children just to remain uneducated rather than going through what they are. Prashant Kumar Roy, head NASSCOM Internet Council, has the first greenhouse in Delhi. I mean, greenhouse means as in a house that is green. I'm not very sure whether it's saving you or your lungs right now. Well, you're shaking your head, so I think you know the answer. Dr. Randeep Guleria is with us, Professor and Head of Pulmonary Medicine at AIIMS, can maybe help give us some medical advice on what all of us should be doing right now if you are misfortunate enough to be living in northern India. And Vishwajyoti Ghosh is a graphic novelist and is a concerned citizen. We're also being joined from Mumbai by Shaina NC, who has escaped to the safety of Mumbai after spending, what was it, Shaina, 2 days in Delhi, and your 3 packs of cigarettes that you consumed in your 2 days in Delhi before you were able to escape back to Mumbai yesterday evening. So thank you for joining us. And Ashish Khaitan, great to have you joining us from the Aam Aadmi Party, of course, which is running Delhi. So Ashish, why don't I actually start with you before I come to everyone else? Wasn't this a crisis in Delhi that you could have forecast a long time back? And while we are delighted that we are hearing reports of emergency meetings taking place now and thoughts of putting giant vacuum cleaners on intersections and things like that, perhaps these emergency meetings should have been held 5-6 months ago, because we knew what was going to happen in November.
There is a huge crisis with regard to public health and air pollution in Delhi, and we are all equally concerned. As far as these emergency meetings are concerned, they keep happening round the year with regard to cutting down on sources of air pollution, but it's only when the subject of air pollution is in the news that these meetings get reported and an impression gets created that it's only now that the government is acting tough.
Okay.
If you remember, Vikram, we faced
Ashish,
a lot of
if I can
flack
just take you
last
forward
year,
that I'm delighted to hear that, and I'm delighted that the government has been really having crisis and emergency meetings on this all through the year, because clearly that's something that is necessary. So if I could just ask you that what is it that the Delhi government, and I'm going to come to the center also, what is it that the Delhi government has been doing the last 10 months to make sure we don't hit the crisis that we are in now?
So starting from last year itself, when I think we were the boldest government in the country to regulate the movement of private vehicles, and we brought in odd even not once but twice. One to begin with in the month of January, then again in the month of April. And we faced a lot of opposition. PILs were filed in high courts. We had to go rushing to different courts justifying our position, and we had to explain that, look, this had to be done because there are different sources of pollution
Ashish,
and we have to start from somewhere.
Ashish,
So we
or
started
even
from,
you've said, Mr. Kejriwal has said it was a one-off sort of a thing to deal with a crisis situation. But I can just, if I may take the liberty of taking you through what you have been doing in some of those meetings has actually filtered out and been reported. And I just want to sort of try and get a status check from you, because the Aam Aadmi Party had promised 1,000 new buses to reduce private vehicle pollution. 100 of them are on the roads only. You promised the vacuum cleaning of arterial roads. The project was put on hold. You promised sprinkling of water and planting of trees. It's still to happen. You promised a special team to focus on decreasing construction dust. That team is yet to be constituted. And I do have a couple of other pages. So that's why I'm asking you that, other than odd events, specifically what has been done in the last 10 months?
I have to say that, Vikram, that you have only half the picture. I can reel out all the statistics with regard to the number of challans that different departments and the enforcement drives that different departments have carried out with regard to controlling dust at construction sites, controlling of leaf burning, garbage.
Ashish, I hate to interrupt you on this. I'm going to get the others in also. So you've been working really hard in controlling the dust at construction sites and leaf burning. Do join me, Ashish, for a walk tomorrow morning. It's actually a bit dangerous, so I'm not sure I should really be offering that to you. But if you come with me for a drive tomorrow, I will take you to 50 locations in Delhi where construction is taking place with absolutely not the slightest effort in controlling dust. And I'm happy to take you tomorrow night or tomorrow morning or tonight, if you like, to 30 places where you will see leaves being burned and nothing is happening.
I couldn't agree with you more that all these things, which is construction activities going on without necessary safeguards, leaf burning, garbage burning, all this is going on and going on rampantly. What I'm trying to say is that this whole drive of cutting down on air pollution and making Delhi healthy has to be turned into a people's movement. It is only when it turns into a people's movement that we can save this city. Otherwise, it will be an uphill task. I'll tell you why. I also live in the same city as you are living. I also live here in the same city with my family. Just let me complete my point.
Yeah.
On this Diwali, the government pleaded with everyone to cut down on firecrackers. I had an argument with my neighbors that please don't burst so many firecrackers, don't think about my kids, think about your kids. The problem is, unless the people of the city take it upon themselves that they have to fight against air pollution, no amount of executive action and executive
Ashish, essentially you are saying
and
half of the problem is that the central government doesn't cooperate with you. That's why half the things can't be done, and the other half can be done because the people don't cooperate. At some point, you've got to take some responsibility.
Shutting down TV channels like you.
The center is not cooperating. We can't do X. The people aren't cooperating. I mean, I'm not sharing. I'm not agreeing with you
saying that people are not cooperating.
I don't know why they're not cooperating.
I'm saying that the cooperation.
You're right. They shouldn't have been bursting crackers.
Level.
That's their fault. But at some point you've got to take responsibility. Actually, okay, hang on. Let me just get the center in. I mean, let me get.
I'm taking complete responsibility. We are not shirking from a responsibility.
Okay, great.
I'm not saying that we are taking complete onus of this.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to get everyone else in, Ashish. I'm going to come back to you and let's try and find concrete things that you should have done by now, and at least certain things that you maybe can do in the next week or 10 days. Shaina, can I just come to you next? Because while, I mean, in Delhi, obviously, it's the Aam Aadmi Party that is responsible for doing or not doing whatever had to be done. But elsewhere, the air pollution crisis is being caused by other things. Like, look at these pictures, and I'm putting them up there. These are crops being burnt in Punjab and in Haryana. And I can tell you, news channels have been reporting this for the last 2 months. And we've been saying it. We are going to hit a crisis come November. And nothing happened. And it's, by the way, it's your government right now. I mean, it's you and an alliance in Punjab. Why was nothing done to stop the burning of crops? Why are we in a situation where children are actually going to, I'm telling you, people are going to die, Shaina, because of the air pollution in North India. And not just some people, it could be hundreds of thousands of people. I'm going to get the doctor to come and talk about this. It's not just apathy, it's almost criminal neglect. What's happened in the last few months?
Absolutely. I am not for 1 minute suggesting that this is not a serious situation. Yesterday, I met with our Environment Minister, Mr. Anil Dave, who had also spoken to the press. and said that yes, we are accountable, but if you're going to question us for the previous 17 years, it's most unfortunate. So look at 2016. India's air quality was amongst the world's worst, between 40% and 100% worse in 5 North Indian cities. Now you talked about Punjab. I want to also give you an example about Uttar Pradesh, where you have paddy burning, which is causing so much pollution. Look at the kind of levels in a city like Delhi on the days of Diwali,
Yes, I get it.
30th and 31st October and 1st November, and compare
China,
it to
you
previous
can
years.
go on saying,
we need to have
China, you
a
can go on saying,
collaborative system. So
look at
the Environment Ministry
China,
has
hang on. Can I just
suggested-
interrupt you? I'm
Hear
putting
me
the
out.
map up. China, I'm putting the map up again. Here's the map.
Let me
Here's the
just
map of where the
complete one
fires
point,
are burning.
Vikram.
Yes, Uttar Pradesh is guilty, and yes, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh should be held accountable. But everyone needs to take a share of the blame and a share of the onus. The Punjab government is a Akali Dal government which you are in partnership with. It would have required one
Absolutely.
call from the Prime Minister to say, make sure those fires are out, because people are going to die if they're not. Get serious about it. Were those calls made?
So let me please tell you what our government has suggested. Mr. Anil Dave, who's extremely knowledgeable on environmental issues and especially pollution, has asked for all the secretaries of the NCR to come and interact and engage in a policy that can be implemented.
Now.
We have also asked the environment
Now.
ministers of the respective states.
But
and
China,
a
now at this stage, why not 1 month
365-day
ago? Why
working
not 3
solution
months
where
ago?
people also participate. Tell me, Vikram, you take an example of Diwali and firecrackers. How many of us are actually conscious in totality not to pollute the environment?
By the way,
We
can I
talk
just say
about
something?
cars.
China,
How
we
many
tried. Some of us
just
tried.
want
China, hang on,
to,
hang on.
say
I'm
that
so
no,
glad.
we can have 4
I'm
cars
so glad
and
you
we can
raised that
continue
question.
to lead our lives. Are we actually collaboratively thinking of the next generation?
That's exactly what Ashish just said. For once, you and Ashish are in agreement. Why were people bursting crackers? But can I just tell you one thing? When anybody has tried to say don't burst crackers, it was BJP supporters who came in their hordes online to say you are anti-Hindu for attacking a Hindu festival. I mean, that's what was happening. When anybody was trying to do an anti-cracker that, look, can we celebrate Diwali? It's the most wonderful of festivals. Do a feast for the eyes and for the stomach and not an assault on your lungs. BJP supporters came and said you're anti-Hindu for saying this.
Please do understand that pollution is not limited to a particular ideology, community, person.
Of course it's not.
Now, if we don't collaboratively raise a awareness campaign where our government has even spoken to NGOs, we're speaking to individual state governments, we're speaking to the secretaries, we're coming up with a collaborative policy which we must implement, because this is not a question of you and me. It's for generations to come.
Yeah,
So when the government goes next week to Marrakesh in Morocco, there are representatives from civil society that are also participating.
But civil society has
So
been in violent agreement. I'm coming to civil society right now. Every one of us in civil society has for months been saying this, and for once we can say, we told you so, because we did. By the way, can we just play? It was, I think, here on an episode of The Big Fight, and I hate to say I told you so, and I'm going to come to all of you and give you a chance to say I told you so. It was here on an episode of The Big Fight, 2 months back, 3 months back. I think let's try and find that clip and play it out, where we said exactly this. This is a crisis. This crisis is going to pass. We were talking about urban decay and the fact that monsoons will come. And we said, guess what? November is going to come and we're going to be sitting here and saying, oh, look at the crisis all of us are having with air pollution. We must do something and we must all get together and try and find a solution. Why isn't anybody doing? Here, take a look at it. I am predicting a Big Fight episode that we're going to be doing in the month of January.
Oh, for the fog. For the fog.
Air quality.
Air pollution, that's coming. September's here, but November, December's around the corner.
They have a solution, odd even.
Vikram, we'll do that after. So the calendar. The calendar for the Big Fight is already set out. So this is it. Now we've done our water flooding, but he's right. Problem's going to go away very soon, and there's not going to be a problem.
And after New Year's,
it's not raining. But November, December, January, we're going to have another crisis with air pollution, and we'll be coming back to figure out what we've already gone into the blame game a little bit without really sitting and trying to understand how bad the situation actually is. And I want to get it out from all of you, because I really don't think that the public is panicking, and I'm using the word advisedly. I don't think the public is panicking as much as it should. There's not enough pressure coming to get something sorted out. Let's just try and understand just how bad the situation is. How bad is it?
One way to say is that
on Diwali day and the day after Diwali. The air quality index was 999 because the limit is 1000. Your index can't go beyond 1000. So the machine that measures pollution stopped measuring beyond that point of time. So, and therefore we are dealing with crisis, it's criminal. I believe that the answer of the two political parties here at this show shows they have done nothing. I think Delhi government did nothing. Ashish can say whatever he wants to say. The fact of the matter is there was an action plan. It was driven by Supreme Court, NGT, civil society. An action plan was given to the Delhi government, from buying of public transport to cleaning of dust from road to work with different states to reduce agricultural burning. There was a list of things that the Delhi government had to do.
Nothing was done.
Nothing
Neither
was
did the
done.
Delhi government do anything, nor did the centre do much.
None.
Nor
In
did the
fact,
Punjab government do anything,
or
nor
our
did the Haryana
municipalities,
government do
please
anything,
understand.
nor did the Uttar Pradesh government do anything. And that's why we're in the situation we are. India's political class
But we should
has
not.
left us down.
Another thing is that we have 5 municipalities in the city. I think they need to be held accountable as well.
But by the way, I just want to broaden it a little bit, because you see, we sometimes think that air pollution and the crisis is the Delhi crisis. It's not.
No, it's not India.
Look at the other cities. If you think Delhi is bad, look at the levels in Lucknow. It's 465 PM 2.5 level.
Absolutely.
Citizens of Lucknow are smoking what, 21 cigarettes a day, give or take.
Yep.
With that level. South Delhi is of course 20 cigarettes a day. Gurugram, that's Haryana, 400 PM 2.5 levels is approximately.
They have to
18
close down
cigarettes
their
a day.
schools.
They have to close down the schools in Gurugram. Agra, 386, that's 18 cigarettes a day. These are crazy numbers, these are crazy figures. Anywhere else, you would have had government, you would have had heads rolling, people would have been demanding accountability. That's why I'm saying I'm surprised at how calm the people of the country
calm is
really
also
are.
because your political leadership is calm. When two persons says that, listen, I have done everything, let's blame people. That's what has happened today, just in the beginning of your show, that listen, we need to increase awareness, people are to be blamed, we have done everything that we wanted to do. I believe that's a wrong approach. There's a lot that the government can do. There's a lot that the government can do to increase awareness, to push that panic button. At the end of the day, we have an air quality index that has to be, that button has to be pushed by the government.
And I just want to add to it, it's not just, I know Diwali is where it spikes, but it's not just Diwali. If it was just Diwali, it's a 1 week problem, then after that it's gone. This is going to continue for 3 months. 3 months. I want to come to you before I come to the others. Tell us what this is doing to adults and specifically to children. What is this doing to people?
So first of all, this is a medical emergency and we need to understand that. And if you just go back in time and we look at the London smog, which occurred in the 1950s, in a span of 1 week, more than 10,000 people died just because of air pollution. So this is how bad it is. And if you look at the pictures of 1950 of London, it's very similar to the smog that you saw in Delhi over the last few days. What it is doing to children is that, especially young children whose lungs are still growing, their lung growth is becoming stunted. So they are going to become adults with impaired lung function, have a higher chance of bronchitis and respiratory diseases. Same is happening with the elderly. They are having more and more respiratory infection, chest tightness, having to come to hospital, requiring nebulizers and emergency treatment. And people with underlying diseases, I mean, they are having a very tough time. If you look at any OPD visit, if you look at any emergency visits, people with bronchitis, heart disease are coming in huge numbers.
So if you look at it, a lot of attention gets paid. If you actually had, let's say, 10 people dying in a terror attack, it would almost certainly dominate headlines for a long period of time. If you had 20 or 30 people dying in an accident somewhere, again, it could draw a lot of attention. If you had 50, 60 people who are dying as a result of an epidemic of something, swine flu or something like that, it will get a lot of attention. Air pollution, and this is just a theory that I have, perhaps the reason it doesn't get quite as much attention is it's longer term, it's more insidious, it's not something that you can see. I'm just going to try and ask you to put this into numbers for us to help us understand. How many people are going to die, you think, this winter because of air pollution in Delhi?
So there is a lot of data out there that this is a silent killer, and you will have a significant number of people who will, because of their underlying heart disease getting worsened, because the respiratory disease is worsening, will actually die. And like I said, during that smog episode, which was actually well documented, we had almost 10,000 people dying in a week, which could directly be linked to high levels of air pollution.
And that assessment is not being done in Delhi right now.
That assessment
Or
is
in
not
North
being done.
India, or, I mean, as I said, Delhi, Agra, Lucknow, any
So
of the
that's what I'm
cities
saying.
that
We're
are-
looking at it in a very casual manner. We don't realize the seriousness of the situation.
So I'm just trying to ask you, is it possible that we can say that over the course of this winter, you could be having 30, 40, 50,000 people who are going to die because of the effects of air pollution?
Quite likely, quite likely. And we will never be able to pinpoint it. People will always say that, you know, this was due to something else. You can't show a cause and effect relationship. Therefore, this is not related to pollution. But there is a lot of data out there which you can extrapolate and say that, yes, these people could have
We have
lived a
that
better
data.
and longer life.
And just to support what he's saying, how many people do you think are going to die in Delhi?
30,000 every year in this city.
How many?
30,000. Death of 30,000 people can be attributed to air pollution in the city of Delhi.
But nothing's
And,
documented.
and if you add to that, so that's
Yep.
Delhi, right?
Delhi.
That's a small, I mean, it's
And
a
if
small
you
part
add
of
400 million people who are
400
affected,
million people in the
affected by air
polluted belt.
pollution, you are talking about hundreds of thousands of people whose death can be attributed to air pollution. As Dr. Guleria said, no doctor is going to give you a certificate saying this chap died because of air pollution. Okay.
I'm actually quite astonished for that reason that this is not the single biggest headline in every newspaper, on every news channel, not just for 1 day or 2 days, but for weeks at end. And why this is not the top priority for every political party is because for some reason they don't think this is either getting attention or getting votes. Otherwise, every political party would be responding to this. Hundreds of thousands of people dying every year because of air pollution. Why is that not the most important thing for anybody to talk about?